Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Teach Better Today, our morning show that happens every single weekday at 7 a.m. Eastern. My name is Ray Hewert. Katie Miglin is in the house. And I don't know, we're going to talk about our weekends and get into some cool topics. We have a listener question today, so love that you guys are reaching out. Katie, isn't it exciting that we're getting messages of questions of people wanting to participate in the show? I love this. So we'll be right back as we get into the fun. Make sure you grab your cup of coffee because I'm going to be slurping this down during the show. We'll be right back. Hey everyone, good morning. Good morning. Katie Miglin, do you ever feel like we should do introductions because we falsely assume everybody knows who we are?
I mean, we've done a few of these and we haven't done it yet, but sure. What if someone new stumbled upon Teach Better Today and they were like, who are these weirdos on this?
And I was thinking we're streaming on Facebook, YouTube, all those places on social media, but we're also, on our Teach Better Talk podcast, which that means you're not watching us, guys. And I feel like you're missing the outfits, you're missing the coffee mug sips. I don't know. I just feel like you're missing out. But I will say, if you're listening on the podcast Teach Better Talk has existed since 2018. So you might know at least who I am.
And if you are still listening from 2018, God bless you.
Wait, please tell us if you are. Let us know in the comments, how long you've been connected to the team and therefore been popping into live streams or Teach Better Talk podcast. Because I feel I don't know. When did you join the team? She has no idea.
I don't know. I feel like I've heard about Teach Better since the beginning because I worked with you when you were
right,
exploring it and working, doing that and in the classroom. So I think I officially joined the team 2 years ago.
Which would be 2021?
Yes.
No, because didn't you work for us part-time before you became full-time?
I did. I worked for maybe 8 months. Because I didn't come at the beginning of the school year. I started mid-year doing part-time. It was right before, I think, a 12-hour is when I and then it was I worked for a full year and then I joined full-time.
Wow.
It feels a lot longer, but then when I think about how long I've been out of the classroom, that doesn't feel that long. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, you're right. I get that. Okay. Because I joined in 2017, but I pseudo stalked and hung out with Jeff and Chad for 8 months before I officially joined August of 2017 part-time.
Right.
And then became a part owner and then went full-time. Anyway, so I've been a good stalker since 2017. Let's see if anyone can beat me. I know there's a few in our network that can't. There's definitely a few in our network that I'm you were here before I was.
Yeah, which is crazy, but also awesome. Kudos to you if you have been hanging out for the crazy.
The crazy. It has been crazy. Speaking of crazy, how's your weekend, Katie Miglin?
Well, my weekend was so great because I got to see you in person.
IRL, in real life.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It
was super fun. Had a good day on the lake, gorgeous weather. It's been just questionable. It's, that end of summer weather where it can either be 400 degrees or it's raining and there's not a lot in between. So worked out. It was perfect day, had our families together, which does not happen very often. So
never. Yes. Yeah. This was the first time all the kids met.
Yes. Of our friend group. Yep.
Yeah. And then they had some of them, obviously your girls with Sarah girls, they have met 1,000 times, but my girls had met your kids only once. So this was the first time testing out the crew that we are creating with the best friends forcing their kids to be friends, essentially.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna lie, I was like it could go 50-50, right? Like
Right.
anytime you have adults that are friends and you're like wanting the kids to be friends, it could either be perfect and like, oh, this makes sense, everyone's getting along, or it's like we can only hang out as adults. And I feel
Mhm.
like I was a little nervous going in that morning because I was like, today is like a very unstructured day. It's literally just them playing and the adults are gonna hang out. And it was like no one skipped a beat. Like we walked in and immediately my kids were like going in the water with your kids and everyone was just playing. There was no like awkward, like, well, I don't know her name or I don't know, like it was just little and all day that's what it was.
I know, I think we joked. I'm like, "Did they even do introductions?" Like, we talk about the kids in each other's households, like, they're aware of these
Right,
kids, but it's like I'm like, I guess at some age, like, you don't even care, you don't even need to do
right.
that, "Hi, my name's" whatever, and they were, like, literally jumping in the middle of the lake with, life jackets on a trampoline, being besties, and I'm like,
Yeah.
"Okay, well, at some point, they'll figure out, like, who's the oldest and what are each other's names and who's connected to who, but who cares
Mhm.
now?"
Like it's like okay, sometimes I look at kids and I'm like, adults need to take a page out of their book
Right?
because they didn't need any introduction. They didn't need to
No.
know any like life story or like where they're from, what do they do, nothing. It was like, yeah, you like to be in water and jump on a trampoline. Cool, let's be friends. And it was like, that was it. And they
Yep.
were fine all day. And then when we went to leave, it was like we were like literally parting the best of friends. It was like, I'm never gonna see them again. Like it
This
was
is the worst day ever. I don't
yeah,
wanna go.
it was like so dramatic. But I was like, gosh, adults are like, they would have taken the whole day to get to know someone and then maybe considered a friendship later. Like,
Yeah.
we could all be a little bit more like kids and just be a little bit more forgiving.
Why is that? Because I was looking, I'm like, okay, so we had a huge variety of ages, which obviously in like friend groups as adults, that really doesn't
That
matter.
happens,
Like,
right?
yeah, like my friends' ages are like within 20 years of like
Mhm.
backwards and forwards. But
Right.
um for them, what we had like almost five. I can't believe Stella's four. Her is Mirren kept being like, she's only four. I'm like, yeah, for like another 3 weeks.
Right,
She's five.
exactly.
So we had like an almost 5-year-old all the way up to a 10-year-old. So that's a good
Yeah.
age gap. We
Mhm.
had 5 girls
Which
and
girls can be questionable,
yeah.
dramatic.
So I don't know what causes that to be so easy for kids in a setting like that. But then I'm also thinking of like the beginning of the year. That's not how it feels when kids walk into school. They're nervous. I think those friendships do still happen. There is similarities, but like
Right.
it's not like necessarily the same ease. Like literally everyone walked in, put on a life jacket, and you're like, you're my best friend. Let's go jump on a
Right,
trampoline. Like
exactly.
there was nothing else to it.
I think some of it comes down to, like, they knew that we, like,
Mm,
loved and trusted each other's families, so there was some of that where, like, the hesitation of, "Are you a safe person or not?" was, like, gone. The
yes.
book that we did this summer for our summer book circle, What Happened to You, they talk a lot about that and how we're constantly, like, filtering relationships and, like, people. And I thought it was interesting, they were saying, like, when you have a full day of travel, like, if you spend the day, like, on planes, trains, and automobiles, essentially, how people come home exhausted, and it's like, "Why am I so tired? All I've been doing is, like, sitting and barely walking." And they
Yes.
said it's because we're constantly filtering all the new faces of, like, "Are you a safe person? Are you not? Are you someone I can say hi to? Can I smile at you?" And I'm like, that
Yes.
makes so much more sense when it comes to, like, when we meet people for the first time, right? Like, first day of school, that day is exhausting. I mean, I know you know this from, like, having kids in
Oh
the
my
house.
god.
Everyone
Yes.
comes home and crashes, and we used to do that as educators, right?
Ugh,
It's
there's
like
nothing, guys, in case you need this reminder, which none of you do, there is nothing like first week of school tired. Nothing. You
no,
can't explain it to anyone who has never done it. There is
right.
nothing.
You
Yeah,
can't. And, like, anyone not in the world of education does not understand that.
they don't get it.
But it makes sense that you are, like, mentally processing all the new interactions, and as an adult, you're also processing your to-do list and all the things that go with the job, but, like, as a kid, they're literally in some of our schools, they're meeting, 100 plus new faces every hour,
Mhm.
every passing period, and so it makes sense why we're so tired because 'cause we're doing so much in our brain that we don't even
So
realize.
I don't know how, because I love that we just got into this random conversation, but I wonder if there's something we can do here as educators walking into the beginning of the year to try and create that same like feeling of I'm endorsing this person is good for you
Right.
at the beginning of the year. Because I know that there's been times where, I mean, of course, every educator at the beginning of the year is going to do their best to make everyone warm and fuzzy. I have no doubt,
Get to know
especially in
you
this network.
games, all that. Yeah.
Totally. But sometimes we make the environment warm and fuzzy and we forget to make that student to student connection immediately. And I wonder if this is just a reminder at the beginning of, the first few weeks of school, you're consciously walking around to students saying, hey, Ella, have you met, Ben? Ben is a really nice student. I'm really glad that you're both in my class. I think you're going to have a lot in common. And just leave it like that. I think you're automatically maybe not opening the door fully, but you are opening the door. And maybe that's what we all need. Because as you're saying this, random people, I always try and be warm and, eager to get to know them. I really work at that. That's something that I want to be better at. But if they had known you and you introduced me being like, hey, this is Sarah, she's outstanding, so funny, you're going to love her, I automatically feel an internal shift where I'm more eager to get to know her.
Yeah, any of the even minor anxiety or stress that goes with like filtering the person goes away because you're like, I don't need to filter them. I have a reliable source. But I think this is true, when we look at our classrooms, and I always like admire, because this was not my jam until probably like my last few years, but I always admire teachers who don't have a seating chart on the first day of school. And I know this is a hot topic, and I know there's lots of people who have strong feelings, but to be able to like walk into a classroom and find your comfort zone or find like just somewhere that makes you feel a little at ease, even if it's just for a few days. I'm not saying we like never need to make kids meet new people, but that initial day, I would feel like overwhelmed if I walked into a staff meeting and I didn't know anybody and I was required to sit in a specific seat around people I had no idea and I couldn't filter on my own. So I just wonder if there's like something to be said about letting kids have a little bit of autonomy and, like easing into their comfort zone. Now I know there's like, we got to sit next to our friends and then we talk and like all the things that go with it. But like a kid who truly doesn't know anyone, that could be kind of stressful to be given a specific spot.
I really adore you, but I think I wholeheartedly disagree.
Really?
Maybe that's good. Maybe this is like finding the happy medium, because first off, I love students choosing their seats because like that's my vibe. But and that's my vibe. But I also think that sometimes having to make a choice in an environment that is new to you is even more stressful.
That's true.
Like if I'm in a staff meeting, I don't know anyone and it's not assigned seats, then I'm going to sit by myself. Like I'm intimidated by people because
that's a good point.
I hate to say that. Or you walk into a classroom as a student, even if, at my age, I'm a student, you like walk into a classroom as a student, I have to then do a full audit of the room to see what I want, which takes time and that's high anxiety, versus being told where to sit. And then once I'm seated and I'm in a safe space, taking a full audit of the room. So it's interesting. I wonder if there's balance here. And I think that this is something as humans, I hate to say teachers, because I think it's beyond that. But sometimes we find ourselves, staff meetings or something in between, being a little cliquey. And I mean that in like an okay way. Like I've lived in that space like of not having people to go to and then having my favorite people to go to. I totally respect it. But I'm just even thinking we all have, and I'm saying that generally, but it literally must be true for 99%. We all have new administrators this year, right? We all have new staff this year in the classrooms. And how often do we, the first day of school, actually walk up to the new person and say, hey, are you new? I don't like recognize you. You should come sit with me. I have some staff you'd like to, like, you should meet. Right. And like, I don't know if it's not ego and it's not disinterest in being warm. I just think people are programmed to think of themselves, and teachers are programmed to give to their students. They don't always give to their colleagues.
Well, I feel like I'm a person. I mean, you know me, you've worked in a building with me before, obviously
Yeah.
we're friends like now, but I've been in that space where I knew people and I would be anxious trying to like bring a new person in because
Right.
it was like, well, what if it messes up like the vibe? And first day of school or like when you're back to school, you want to like talk to people you haven't seen for a while.
And
So
there's 1,000 things going on.
right,
Like, no,
exactly.
yeah.
But I wonder if there is like this happy medium. And I know we're kind of getting into like the warm and fuzzies, some people it's not their jam, but I always loved, which is this is the cheesy side of me. For those of you who don't know me, I do have a cheesy gamey side, but I loved going into staff meetings where they like handed you something, whether it was like a piece of candy or a sticker or whatever, and it was like, go find the people in your group. And it was like an easy way. You didn't
Wait,
have to necessarily like
wait. That's an assigned seat.
okay, but no,
It is.
it's a happy medium. Here's why. Because you're finding people in your group and then like sitting. So if you go up to your group who is given to you, as you said, which I think is a good point. I do think it's a good point.
You all just heard her say she likes assigned seats. You put in the comments your feelings. She can just blab on. You all just heard it.
I think there's a middle ground of being
so
assigned your group, but not necessarily your seat.
So the middle ground is that you want candy instead of being told where to sit.
Yeah, I do.
Like, don't put it on a piece of paper. Don't put my name on an index card. Hand me a Jolly Rancher and it feels different.
Right. Because it's like, it's something easy to talk about, I think is where I was kind of going. Is like, it's an easy, like, oh, do you have the blueberry, Jolly Rancher? And it like,
You
is
went,
it easy?
you went with blueberry of Jolly Rancher of all the colors. You went with
Raspberry is
blueberry?
the bomb.com. It's the best one.
No, I like watermelon for sure.
Okay, watermelon is a close second, but
yeah.
go to any classroom, blue raspberry is always the one that's gone first.
But can you predict why I don't like blue raspberry?
Because it makes your tongue blue?
Yes. You know me so well.
I do. I think there's a happy medium. I hear what you're saying about, yes, that's true. Like walking into a room and having to assess the whole situation can be very overwhelming. So can you find like a middle ground of giving students something that's like easy for them to, if nothing else, just say, hey, I have a cherry Jolly Rancher. Are you guys the cherry group? And then just like sitting versus, I think like the structure of like, this is my assigned seat and not knowing anything, can't control anything makes like me, who's a control freak, very uneasy.
So the takeaway from this conversation is Katie and I got to see each other this weekend, and we want to encourage all of you to figure out how to create more connections your first few days of school.
Be like the 5-year-olds and
I think like the 9-year-old Oki is the coolest. I don't know.
Yeah, that's true.
But like,
okay, can we for like 30 seconds just talk about the two youngest? So for those of you who don't know,
my God.
The youngest in the group are my daughter Stella and Mirren.
Mirren, yeah.
Yep. And they are sassy as can be in their own world, right? Like everyone who knows them is like sassy attitude. Like they're the ones that if you don't know where they're at, you're like, something's not going well. Like I need to have eyes on them.
Yes.
Putting them together it brought so much joy because it was literally like two peas in a pod, but like a taste of their own medicine. Like there were so many like little 4 or 5-year-old arguments. Well, I guess she's 6, but like it was that like silly disagreement where it was like, no, that is how my swimsuit is supposed to be. You don't know. And I'm like, this is so great because they're literally like in a mirror. Like they're giving
because both their older siblings are more like chill, low key people pleasers, and so they don't get the same sass back at home. So yeah, that was a good matchup for sure. We should put them together in a room and just leave them for a bit again, and maybe
I was watching them on Saturday. It was so funny. It was like, gosh, this is great. Now they know what it's like to live with them.
Oh my God. Okay, Katie, we have successfully done 20 minutes of Teach Better today, and we've not done anything that we're supposed to do. And I specifically wanted to highlight that we have a listener question today. So should we do the listener question, or are we out of time?
I feel like with the plan that we've been doing, I know we didn't do the Teach Better talk or whatever
we did it.
Commercial is.
The adorable commercial of our team talk that happens every single show.
No, we didn't click the thing because we just got into it. But I do think that listener question can be valuable on another day.
But I have to do with this topic, so you're going to make them wait?
Well, then I have to come back and hear it.
Yikes. Okay, friends, you don't get the cool, fun team talk commercial, and you have to wait for our listener question, but it really was like...
It's a good one. It's a good one, so come back.
So the next show, or like very soon, we're going to do the listener question.
Yes, and that is also a good topic. But I think today we gave a good idea of like, how are you going to break the mold of that anxiety when a student walks into your classroom for the first day of school, first week of school, or when you have a new student, something to keep in mind as you go through the year. How do you kind of break that ice in a natural but also easy way? And just think about how kids hang out when they're young and they don't care and they just jump in. Like, bring some of that back into our classroom. Even if you teach the younger grades, some of that stress and anxiety is still there because it's still the first day of school. There's a lot happening. So
yeah, I love the teacher endorsing the person as a safe person. I haven't thought of it that way, but thank God we did that book study this summer. It made you so smart.
Well, I try.
All right, guys. We'll be back on our next show. We will give you as many listener questions as we can. I actually have a bunch, but this one I was just really excited to do. Thank you for tuning in to Teach Better Today. This is our morning show every single morning, Monday through Friday at 7 a.m. Eastern. We stream on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, all the places. But you can also listen on Teach Better Talk podcast. We will see you all soon. Bye, friends. Have a good day.
See ya.
Hey, Teach Better community. Thank you so much for joining the Teach Better Today morning show every single weekday at 7 a.m. Eastern. We have so many resources for you outside of this live stream at teachbetter.com, including blogs, podcasts, and professional development that will bring our team to your school. Wherever you are listening from this morning, please make sure you are sharing and celebrating the incredible educators in this world. And hey, if you are listening over on a podcast to Teach Better Talk, we would love a 5-star review. The comments are always so entertaining. We'll see you tomorrow.